Welcome to Blueprint Narratives, the official channel of indiaartanddesign.com, exploring the intricate layers behind architectural and design projects, one story at a time. Whether it's groundbreaking projects, innovative designs, or artistic expressions, each episode uncovers the depth of thought and craftsmanship behind these creations. Over to our aesthete crew, who will take this conversation forward.
Welcome back to Blueprint Narratives, the official podcast channel for indiaartanddesign.com. We are jumping right into episode 09.
Okay.
Today, we're diving deep into, well, you could say, a really fascinating project.
Yeah.
The renovation of Mumbai's iconic Parsi dairy farm.
It's a century-old establishment. It holds a very special place, I think, in the hearts of many Mumbai cars.
Yeah.
And its recent makeover, as detailed in Archana A.S.'s piece in India Art and Design,
Right.
is a brilliant example, I think, of how to blend heritage with, contemporary design.
Absolutely. And that's kind of what's so intriguing about this whole project.
Yeah.
Like, how do you modernize a space that's so steeped in history
Yeah.
and cultural significance without erasing its past?
Right.
Especially when it's nestled right in the heart of South Mumbai's heritage district,
Yeah.
surrounded by all this colonial-era architecture.
You hit the nail on the head. The Parsi dairy farm is integral to the neighborhood's fabric.
Right.
The challenge for these architects
Yeah.
was to create a space that felt both modern,
Right.
but also respectful
Right.
of the surroundings.
Okay.
And I think they've achieved that beautifully.
Yeah, let's break down how they tackled this challenge.
Right.
Starting with the facade.
Okay.
It sounds like they went for this delicate balance of old and new.
Exactly. Think about those classic elements.
Okay.
Arched windows, the decorative cornices, the
Yeah.
wooden moldings,
Right.
all beautifully preserved.
Yeah.
But then they've introduced these large glass windows, which do so much more than just, flood the space with natural light.
Right.
They create a visual dialogue
Oh.
between the interior and the bustling street life outside.
It's almost like they're inviting the city in,
Right.
creating this kind of sense of connection.
Precisely.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. And then there's that color scheme, that vibrant red and blue.
Yes.
I mean, not your typical dairy farm palette,
Right.
but it's a bold choice that works so well.
Okay. I have to admit, when I first read about the red and blue,
Yeah.
I was a bit surprised.
Right.
But the more I think about it, the more it makes sense.
Think about it. Red and blue they're integral
Okay.
to the Parsi Dairy Farm's brand identity.
Okay.
They're eye-catching.
Right.
They evoke, a sense of energy, and they have that regal quality
Yeah.
that just elevates the entire space.
It's interesting how a simple color choice can have such a big impact, both visually and conceptually.
Yeah.
So tell us, when you step inside, what's the overall vibe?
Yeah.
Did they go all out with, preserving the old world charm?
Absolutely. They've created this wonderful sensory experience. You've got the beautiful terrazzo flooring.
Oh, nice.
The intricate wooden moldings we talked about.
Yeah.
And then these delightful little pops of detail everywhere you look.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the aesthetics.
Right.
They've been very clever about retaining elements that really tell the story of this place. For example, the owner's cabin.
Yes. The article mentioned that they kept the owner's cabin in its original location.
Right.
I'm curious to know more about that decision.
It's in the southwest corner of the shop, and it's more than just an office.
Okay.
It's like stepping into a time capsule
Wow.
with its original stained glass partitions and rich wood interiors.
Yeah.
You can almost feel the history,
Right.
the generations of family tradition that have shaped it.
It's amazing how a single space can hold so much meaning. But it's not just about nostalgia, right?
Right.
They've also incorporated some modern touches, haven't they?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
You'll find sleek glass and steel additions throughout the space, creating this dynamic tension between the old and the new. It's like they're having this conversation across time.
Right.
And the result is incredibly exciting.
I love that idea of a conversation across time. And speaking of conversations,
Yeah.
the article mentioned a really interesting feature, a vintage-styled cafe seating area juxtaposed with a wall showcasing black and white photographs. It sounds like such a clever way to create a dialogue between the past and present.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's such a welcoming space. Imagine sitting there, sipping on a cup of chai,
Right.
surrounded by these glimpses into the dairy's history. It's like they've created this little pocket of nostalgia within this vibrant modern space.
And then there's the great Indian toffee unit.
Mm-hmm.
This playful nod to traditional Indian sweets.
Yeah.
It sounds like they've really thought about how to create these little moments of delight that make a space memorable.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So small touches, that give a space personality and make it feel authentic.
Yeah.
And speaking of authenticity, let's talk about how they've woven Parsi culture into the design.
Yes. The article mentioned symbolic patterns and motifs,
Right.
intricate latticework, wrought iron detailing.
Yeah.
It sounds like a celebration of traditional craftsmanship.
It is. You see it everywhere, from the tiling and metalwork to the signage.
Right.
These elements aren't just decorative.
Yeah.
They're a way of honoring the Parsi heritage.
Right.
And keeping those traditions alive within this modern space.
I'm always fascinated by how designers can use those subtle details to kind of tell a story.
Yeah.
It's like they're creating a visual language
Right.
that speaks to the history and the culture of a place.
Precisely. And it's not just about grand gestures.
Right.
Sometimes the smallest details can have the biggest impact. Take the lighting, for example.
Okay.
The article mentions how the facade lighting is designed to kind of draw customers in,
Right.
but it goes beyond that.
How so?
Well, think about the interplay of light and shadow.
Right.
The way they've illuminated the facade. It highlights the intricate details we've been talking about.
Right.
The cornices, the moldings, the lattice work. It's like they're putting a spotlight on the history of the building.
Yes, they're saying, look closer.
Yeah.
There's so much beauty to discover here.
Right.
And speaking of looking closer,
Yeah.
the article mentioned that the architects face this unique challenge.
Uh-huh.
With the low ceiling height, only 7 feet.
Right.
I'm curious to know how they address that.
That's where their creativity really shines. They could have easily felt constrained by that limitation,
Yeah.
but instead they used it as an opportunity
Okay.
to introduce these playful, oversized art installations in the window facades.
I'm picturing them now, those installations mimicking the actual store products.
Yeah.
It's such a clever way to draw the eye upward, making the space feel larger than it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it injects a sense of whimsy and
Right.
fun into the design.
Yeah.
It's like they're saying, we don't take ourselves too seriously. Come on in and enjoy the experience.
It sounds like they've struck this wonderful balance between honoring the past, embracing the present, and even hinting at the future. It's like this renovation is a conversation across time.
I completely agree.
Wouldn't you say?
And I think that's what makes this project so inspiring.
Yeah.
It shows that it's possible to breathe new life into a historic building without erasing its past. It's about finding that harmonious balance between preserving heritage and embracing contemporary needs and aesthetics.
And for our listeners who are, design enthusiasts, what would you say is the key takeaway from this renovation? What can they learn from this project that they could apply to their own works? Or even just their appreciation of design?
I think the biggest lesson here is to think holistically. Don't just focus on the visual aspects of design. Consider the story you want to tell, the emotions you want to evoke, the history you want to honor. It's about creating a space that engages all the senses and leaves a lasting impression. And don't be afraid to be bold.
Yes, the bold color choices, the playful art installations, the unexpected details. It's those elements that make the Parsi Dairy Farm renovation so memorable.
Exactly. Design should be a conversation, a dialogue between the old and the new, the familiar and the unexpected. And when it's done right, it can be truly transformative.
It's been such a pleasure exploring this project with you.
Likewise.
I feel like I've learned so much about the power of design to really bridge that gap between heritage and modernity. For our listeners who are eager to kind of see this transformation for themselves, is there a way they can check out the renovation?
Absolutely. The India Art and Design article we've been referencing has some stunning photographs
Oh, wow.
that really, I think, capture the essence of this renovation. We'll be sure to include a link
Okay.
in the show notes so
Yeah.
you can take a virtual tour.
Fantastic. And a huge thank you to Arcana AS
Yeah,
for the insightful article.
right.
It's given us so much food for thought.
It's been a delight discussing this with you.
Likewise.
The Parsi Dairy Farm renovation is a testament, I think,
Yeah.
to the power of thoughtful design, and I hope it inspires others to approach similar projects
Yeah.
with that same level of creativity and respect for history.
And to our listeners, we'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah.
What resonated with you most about this project? How do you think this design approach could be applied to other historic buildings
Right.
around the world?
Yeah.
Drop us a comment on our social media channels.
Yeah.
We'd love to continue the conversation.
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep exploring and stay curious.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Blueprint Narratives. A big thank you to our wonderful Aesthete team members and to you, our listeners, for tuning in. If today's conversation sparked new ideas, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Connect with us on social media or visit indiaartndesign.com for more art inspiration. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, stay curious and keep creating.